Okay, here we go. We're going to be resilvering the Artemis primary using the new chemical formulations from Angel Gilding. So I'm going to go through the whole process of cleaning the mirror, sensitizing, and then silvering, and hopefully it'll work first time. I'm probably going to be out of the camera frame for most of the video, but you should be able to hear my voice, and hopefully this video will be informative. So here we go. I've already rinsed off my mirror, so I'm going to go straight into cleaning it with calcium carbonate. I'm going to use the same technique as Rob Brown, which is to clean the mirror by hand as opposed to using cotton balls. Hopefully that'll make it a faster process. We need a little bit of water here. And I need quite a bit more water. Let's get a good slurry going here. Alrighty. Okay. So the mirror had been silvered about 3 months ago, and but I hadn't done anything particularly heroic to preserve the silver. In fact, it was just in my office for the vast majority of the time, either completely uncovered, or when it was covered, it just had a little, it just had a chamois cloth on it, and that clearly was not good for the silver because it tarnished very, very quickly. So hopefully, if I get a good coating here, I'm going to be much more careful about protecting the silver. In particular, reducing the airflow around the mirror, as well as using an anti-tarnish cloth just to cover the mirror. So I hope my audio is coming in okay. I have a kind of a little boom mic attached to my phone. As we all know by now, critically important to get clean all the way right to the edge. I don't have tons of pressure on my hand right now. I am pressing down a little bit, but not a great deal, and I'm using nitrile gloves. This is a new jig. My other one was a little bit small and flimsy, and I was concerned about splashback and whatnot, so I've made a much larger jig, sort of along the lines of what Mel and Howard use. So I'm using the precipitated calcium carbonate and just going all over the surface. In a moment, I'm going to do the edge as well. I'm not getting any sort of squeaking yet. Which I doubt you'll be able to hear on the microphone even if I did. Start working the edge here. And for those that have not done this yet, it's particularly important to do the edge because any sort of contamination on the edge has a way of wicking up over around the edge so that you end up with a not a perfect edge-to-edge coating of your mirror. So really important that you clean the edge as much as you do the face of the mirror. This is probably the most boring part of the coating process, and I'm sure it's going to be the most boring part of the video. So I may fast forward through some of this in the final cut. But you want the edge good and clean. And then I need to rotate the mirror because of the supports, so that I get all of the edge clean. Unlike Mel and Rob, and I think Howard, my supports are not Teflon because I don't have a lot of Teflon lying around. So I have printed the supports on my printer, 3D printer. So these are PLA. Clearly not totally level based on the rattling and what's going on. Now, having just seen Rob's cleaning, I am going to just look and see if we have a good milky coating everywhere. I can see little hairlines, which probably suggests that it's not perfectly clean there. Okay, that imbalance is annoying. I'm gonna not pick up the mirror to do the edge. I'm just a little paranoid about dropping the thing after all this time. I guess if I push a little harder, I can hear the squeaking. I seem to remember the squeaking happening more readily when you use the cotton balls. So maybe I was pushing harder, but we got squeaking going on now, so all good. I guess the cool thing about using your hands is you can see the marks of your fingers. So I've now done 3 finger widths. So now I can go in. Another 3 finger widths. And another. So you end up seeing whether you've got full coverage of your mirror, which is good. I really hope the audio is working on this and that I'm not just talking to myself for no benefit. For those not having done this before, you use calcium carbonate to clean the mirror, which is just chalk essentially. It's very soft, obviously, so that you don't wreck the figure that you've carefully put into the mirror. And yet it's got enough abrasion to, maybe abrasion isn't the right word, but enough stuff to lift all the dirt and oils and all the crap that attaches to the mirror. Anything that's left on the mirror will prevent the silver from adhering at that spot. So you end up with very unsightly blemishes in the silver, which at the end of the day, if you don't have too many of them, won't really affect it optically, but it's kind of embarrassing to show. And the previous coating, aside from tarnishing very quickly, had several of those blemishes. And so I am somewhat happy that I've had to resilver because of the tarnish. Okay, so I don't see any kind of little hairlines. It's a consistently milky coating on the mirror. So let's do a rinse. And then do the water test, which I'll explain in a moment. Okay, so what we're going to do for the rinse is move the calcium carbonate and tilt the mirror. And that's where the stops come in. And we slide this in to give it about 60 odd degrees. And let's rinse it off. Okay, we need more oomph here. That's better. That's too much. Now when I rinse, for the final rinse, and I think we need more pressure. When we do the final rinse, we need to rinse right at the supports as well, because we don't want any junk wicking up onto the surface. Just do the back a little bit. I'll try to do the edges too. Try not to step in front of the camera. Shoot it from behind. This is a little bit awkward. And now the water test is basically looking at the mirror while it's wet. I have a flashlight somewhere here. Yep. Looking at the mirror while it's wet and making sure that the water just runs off without any sort of legs, which if you're a wine drinker is, I guess, a good thing to have the legs. But on this, it's not. So you want to see the water just sheeting off. You shouldn't even be able to tell that the mirror is wet. And usually the edges are spot where you fail. But you know, this looks really good. Incidentally, I'm doing this in my messy shop because it's pretty chilly here in Ontario right now, and so I want to do it in a somewhat warmer environment. Right now it is 18.1 degrees Celsius in my shop and 42% humidity. So that's a data point for the Angel Gilding folks. But I don't see any legs on this at all. So I think that this, dare I say it, might be ready for the sensitizing. Oh crap, okay. Got that balanced. A little bit precarious. You know what? I'm gonna add a dumbbell to the cause. Keep it more or less in place. Okay, cool. So, having done that, I'm going to just rinse off my hands a little bit. Just so I'm not totally chalky. I'm going to change my gloves after, but for the moment, I'm just going to do that. And just in case something splashed, do another quick rinse. Rinse around the supports. And make sure my video is still videoing. It is. Good. Just a momentary panic that all this time I have not been recording. Okay, so we are good here. So now we hit it with the sensitizer. So let's tip this back up. apparently wood absorbs water. Okay, got a snugger fit now. Okay, now we hit it with the sensitizer. And we hold it for 30 seconds. Hey Google, give me a 30-second countdown.
Sure, 30 seconds. And we're starting now. Side note, if you need an alarm in this room in the morning, I can do that too.
No thanks.
Just say, set an alarm for 7 a.m.
Okay, assuming that this is going to work, I'm going to switch gloves here. Because I do not want any chalk. And actually, I just remembered. Hey, thank you. So, let's rinse off the sensitizer, although I just remembered an important thing that okay, thank you, Google. Hey, Google, stop. Hey, Google, stop. I just remembered an important thing that Rob and Mel both did, which is to do a hand scrub of the calcium carbonate. And unfortunately I've already sensitized, so I'm going to gamble that I got all the calcium carbonate off the mirror. But apparently equally important is to get all of the sensitizer off the mirror. So I guess we're committed now, and we'll see how it goes. Man, I am making a wet mess over there. Okay, so that's it for the water. So, I'm going to put the glove aside and top up the water. But I think I need a better plan here for doing it inside, because this is a frickin' mess here on my floor. Okay. All right, there's more distilled. Okay. So, we are now at the moment of truth. I've mixed the chems, but actually I have not pressurized. So we want equal pressure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 1920. Now, here's where we'll see the new chems and how they work. So apparently they work really slowly. So let's just start. Now, let's just wait a bit. See what happens. Not much of anything. Okay, I'm starting to see some dark showing here. So it is starting to happen. But noticeably more on the bottom than on the top. So here's what we're going to do. Before I go too much further, I'm going to go more horizontal. And let's see if that helps. So it is noticeably silvery on the bottom here and noticeably not at the top. So let's try another thing, which is to touch the mirror without gloves on. However, let's rotate it. And tilt a bit. So definitely silvering. I doubt you can see it on camera right now, but it is getting silver all the way to the edge now. Oh, there's some haze that's developing here in the middle. Okay, that did away with that haze. But it's starting to get, it's, you know what, it's like pretty much edge to edge. Okay, so I'm not sure what to do here. I seem to remember Rob actually rinsing, because I'm seeing a bit of haze, which is troubling. And so maybe you can see now. So that's encouraging that just by rinsing, the silver is not coming off. And I'm seeing, so I can see some transmission through here and here. It's pretty dense there. I'm going to use the flashlight in the back. So you can see on that top part now is where it's most noticeably transmitting. So let's just do this, level it up again, and I'm seeing haze, which is kind of annoying, because I thought that was part of the point of the new chems. We are out of gas. We're out of gas here, so it is what it is. Oh, Jesus. How tragic would that have been? How many people caught their breath when I did that? So, what I'm going to do is pick up the camera here and just kind of walk around it a little bit so you can see it a little bit more closely. So, hopefully my voice carries here. You can see clearly there's a mirror there. And I don't know if you can pick it up, but there's a little bit of a haze here. However, the edge, and you should be able to see, I can see it on the video too, so you can see there's some hazing there. But the edge is pretty freaking good. That is the area where there's the small chip out of the corner, or the edge rather. Now the other thing that I'm noticing, and this may come up on the video or not, you should be able to see it right there, is there are some spots where it's kind of running, like as though there's oh, and that's interesting too, the color of my fluorescent lights. Oh no, I guess that's okay. Although it's interesting, why is it yellow? So I'm going to give it another rinse. So I'm going to put the camera back. So my initial assessment is, and there's like a little sleek or something right there. I'm not sure what that's about. But my initial assessment is, first of all, edge to edge, sweet. But there is a little bit of a haze. So maybe even with the slower chemistry, I used too much silver. Don't know. Okay, it's running off nicely now. And so the question is transmission. So let's see what the transmission is like. So yeah, there's haze happening right now. I can see some, got to look at it on an angle, but I can see haze. Don't know if that's coming up on the video, but there is some haze up there and some haze there. So now, what if I put this here so that we can see what the transmission is like in 4 quadrants? It's kind of the same, actually. Okay, it's really tough in the jig to do a decent transmission assessment. So I'm not sure what to do about that. And then the question is, should I do the Midas right now, or let it dry and then do the Midas? Yeah, like I can definitely see through the mirror here. So I wonder, now that I've rinsed it, I wonder whether I should mix up a little bit more chemical and spray it a bit more. Yeah, it's noticeably see-through isn't the right word, obviously, because it is definitely reflecting too, but I can definitely see through it a little bit here. Let's see if it's consistent. No, definitely not. So, going to pause the video for a moment, and I'm going to mix up a bit more chemical. So be right back. Okay, and we're back. I've quickly mixed up a half batch of more chemistry, and so we're just going to give it another spray on the areas where it's clearly not as well coated. So up here, and we may as well go all the way around. So now I'm seeing more haze, but it is also filling in that area. Definitely seeing haze now. I'm hoping that's going to wash off. Or burnish off. I don't really want to add any more. But it's good to know that even after you rinse off, you can touch it up. Sorry, dead air right now. As we wait for chemistry to do its thing. But it has definitely fixed up the transmission. So that's good. The tax is haze, which is bad. So hopefully the haze is going to fix itself, or I may need to burnish a little bit, which I'm never keen on doing, although I've done it successfully, but still it's a little bit nerve-wracking. Clearly hazy right now. So that's disappointing. But let's give it a good wash. And I think given that I'm going to have to burnish, maybe, I won't be doing the Midas right now. So we'll let this drip and dry. and see how things transpire. But until that happens, there's nothing else I can do right now. Though I really need to clean up this water mess. So we'll stop it here, and I'll be back. Okay, I am back much quicker than I had anticipated because I realized I could just use my heat gun to accelerate the drying process. So I used my heat gun on medium heat from quite a bit of a distance because I didn't want to really blast it. And as it was drying, you could see the haze going away. So at this point, while as I look around, I can see a little bit of haze, it is dramatically improved by simply having dried. So at this point, I have got an edge-to-edge silvered mirror with a little bit of haze, but not too much. So I'm inclined to leave this for the moment and not touch it. But I don't know whether to put Midas on or not. Man, I'm so tempted to touch it. And I'm sure people are screaming at their computer screens saying, no, don't touch it, leave it alone. Pregnant pause. I'm going to pause the video so that you guys aren't just like watching me think or hearing me think. Okay, so what I decided to do was I'm going to spritz on the Midas and swirl it around with my hand, and hopefully that won't bork the surface. I seem to remember Mel swishing around his Midas with a cotton ball. So the hand should be okay, and then I'm just curious to know whether just that action might do anything to kind of burnish. I really don't know, but it's worth a try. So I'm going to do that now, and let's get the Midas on. There's a bunch of Midas on there now. And let's just, fresh nitrile glove, by the way. And so I'm going to do this for about 10 minutes. So all right, it's 1:15. And I'm going to stop the video here, and we'll come back when I'm done. And we're back 10 minutes later. I applied the Midas with my hand and just kind of gently swirled it around for 10 minutes. So now we're just going to wash it off. And I don't know if you can pick this up in the video, but the water is just like leaping off, as Howard is fond of saying. But like already it's just drops up here and it's sheeting still here in the middle. But it's quite amazing how hydrophobic the Midas product is. No pressure. Man, my shop floor is a disaster. So there's that. And now I'll do the heat gun again. So I'm not sure I want to leave those drops on there. So I'm not sure why those drops are staying. Tempted to just kind of wick them away. Let's just do one and see what happens. Okay, well, I don't want to muck this up, so I'm going to leave these drops for now and see how it turns out. I'm just scared that they're going to end up leaving marks that will eventually lift up and will be a spotted mirror again. So I'm going to stop mucking with this right now, and we'll leave it be, and we'll come back in a little bit. So, final update. I let it drip a little bit, and then I actually used the edge of a paper towel to just kind of wick away the larger drops of water that didn't seem to want to be moving. And then I blasted it with the heat gun a little bit more, and so now I've got a dry and looking to be a pretty nice mirror. All that said, I can clearly see a little bit of haze. So I'll be doing a PMRT on it to see whether that's at all impactful to the numbers, and fingers crossed that this is actually going to be a relatively decent mirror. But I'm really happy with the edge to edge, and there's like no defects at all anywhere in the mirror itself, with the exception of the little bit up here, which is where the chip is on the edge of my mirror. So from that standpoint, I would say 2 thumbs up to the hand cleaning process that Rob is promoting. I'm now a convert on that too. It makes the cleaning way faster, and you can clearly get a very good clean surface on it. So I'm very happy with that part of it. So we'll see what the PMRT reveals, and hopefully this is a done mirror.